What's up, guys? We're back for another edition of Arena Record Podcast. We're here in Rodeo Vegas at Resorts World. Thank you for Casey Jones and Gail for having us here. We're really happy to be in Vegas doing some recording, getting to meet some awesome people, and getting to catch up with some of our real good friends. We've got Dalton and Danielle with us today.
That's me. I'm Dalton. She's Danielle.
We're happy to be here.
So how's it been going so far? You guys have been here for only 3 months now?
I am exhausted already. Yes, it feels like 3 months.
Yeah.
We got here, last Saturday?
Oh, I don't even know what day it is.
When did we leave?
No idea.
We left on the
a Thursday.
28th, I think we left.
I think
November.
you're right.
And we drove to Amarillo. She said, a couple weeks prior to that, she said, hey, by the way, I booked this photo shoot. And so we're driving down the road, and we get this phone call. So, hey, Danielle, I just want to confirm, you're doing this photo shoot. It's going to be at 9 a.m. in Amarillo, and I've got you and Dalton for the romantic couple session. And I looked at her, and I said, what?
Surprise, surprise.
So we had to go to that. And then,
are we talking like boudoir, like y'all are making a calendar? Or
No merchandise, no merchandise.
No, but it was just a really, really fancy picture that we had to take.
Okay.
And they spray painted it.
They airbrush it.
They airbrushed it onto a canvas.
That's cool. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. So you guys got here. Talk about what you were here for before the NFR.
So I work for Coors Banquet while I'm at the NFR, and we've got the pre and post party right outside the Thomas and Mack. Unfortunately, we're not able to do it today because they're not allowing a lot of people in there today. But so it's pre and post party, so we had to set up the tent. We work it every night, and then I have the Contracts Action Convention 3 days prior to the rodeo, and that's where we book a lot of our shows. We get to hang out with our colleagues, yada yada yada.
Yeah, so for the folks that don't know about the NFR and don't know kind of how the PRCA works, so explain that a little more in depth. So you come, everybody knows there's 10 days of perfs here at the Thomas and Mack, and the actual rodeo is one of the things going on here. But for PRCA guys, this is kind of like a reunion, and you do a lot of business here, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. So I set up my booth, and I just try to sell myself. All these rodeo committees, they come in and they get to listen to keynote speakers. They get to learn how they can grow the rodeo and make it better. And then something else what they do is they come in a special room that's just contracts acts, announcers, clowns, bullfighters, specialty acts, music directors, stuff like that. And they get to find out, okay, Dalton, he's in Montana and we're in Wyoming, but he's got to come to Nebraska the next week, so we're going to make a run, and they get to shop around.
Yeah,
pretty much.
So they get it's a one-stop shop. They get to go see a lot of the people that they wouldn't be able to see otherwise. Same thing for us when we come to Vegas. It's the only time we get to see people from all over the country.
And the funnest part about it is Louis Garcilaso, he's always got a rope in his hand, and he's always running around roping random people in there.
Well, that's the fun of it. I mean, you see everywhere you go in Las Vegas, there's kids and guys with ropes in their hands, and you walk around the South Point, and it's just like a healing session. Everybody's roping heels all the way around the place. Awesome. Well, we want to share a little bit more with everybody about you guys and who you are and where you're from. So, Dalton, where are you from?
Kansas City. I live 30 minutes east of Kansas City, town of 6,000 people. It's Odessa, Missouri.
Odessa. And what about you, Daniel?
I live about 30 minutes north of St. Louis, and I'm in a tiny little town called Moscow Mills. And if that doesn't sound like a small town, I don't know what to tell you, because it is.
Anything with mills in the name is typically pretty homey.
Yes.
So your journey in rodeo, Dalton, you started really early, right?
Yep. I was 3 years old. So my dad and my grandpa were trick riders, and my dad put me on a sheep when I was a kid at my hometown rodeo, and I got bucked off, and I was crying. I had dirt in my mouth, all this stuff, and I said, I don't ever want to do that again. And he, why don't you be a trick rider? Well, horses are scary, and I ain't gonna do that. My dad was a trick rider. My sister is a barrel racer, and so them horses are high strung. They like to go fast, and they're a little intimidated, and they cost a lot of money.
Yeah, it's kind of like NASCAR, go fast and turn left.
Yeah. Well, I'm a broke rodeo clown, so I ain't going to do that. So I just decided I was going to be, a rodeo clown.
Well, perfect. You're good at it. So outside of rodeo clowning, you're also a trick roper, correct?
Mm-hmm. I started at 18. It was actually a class project.
Really?
Really? I didn't know that.
I didn't either.
To graduate, you had to learn a new skill and write a paper about it. And I always wanted to learn to trick rope. So I had a buddy of mine that was a trick roper. He was actually in vaudeville, and he was in the Will Rogers Follies.
Yep.
So he taught me some. Another old man taught me some, and it just exploded from there. And now I'm making money off of it.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
now you get to do it for a living, so
Yeah.
that's super cool.
School actually paid off for something.
Yeah, no kidding, no kidding.
Who
That's
says the
awesome.
education system's busted?
Oh my gosh,
They're
I love
turning us
it.
into rodeo cowboys, right?
Yes.
Living proof right here.
Exactly. So the school path for you didn't stop at high school, right?
What do you mean?
Weren't you in the Spirit Squad?
Talk about
Who
that.
did I tell you this?
Everybody knows, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Be proud of it.
In
Own it.
college, I was on the cheer team. I wasn't a cheerleader though. I was the mascot.
So you didn't wear the skirt?
No, I didn't wear the skirt.
Oh my.
But I do think that. I mean, shoot, I didn't have to take half the classes in college because I was in the athletic program.
Yep.
But I think it really did help me with my pantomime with rodeo.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of asking that for, is because it's a lot of guys are talented and they do a lot of different things to learn those talents and to hone those skills and to kind of round themselves out, because being on a stage or being in an arena or being in front of a crowd in a different format kind of changes the way you have to perform, right? Yeah.
I think it would be so cool to just step in the shoes of a mascot at one of those big Major League Basketball or football games. That'd be rank.
It'd be really cool. I mean, that would be probably most similar thing to rodeo, I would imagine, with that kind of crowd and that kind of environment with that kind of energy level. That'd be awesome.
Or like what Brinson does. Like, he's a hype man at a lot of places, and that's just, you're in the crowd, you're interacting with people, you're playing with people, you're hyping them up. I think that's so freaking fun. I don't know.
Yeah. So you're getting on a point there that's good to talk about too. There's kind of a change in the way that things are going in rodeo with the rodeo clown specifically, because now some of them, they don't even refer to them as a rodeo clown anymore. They're the rodeo entertainer. And
I don't know. I think we're all rodeo clowns at heart.
Absolutely. Well, it's the base of the whole thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. A lot of people don't wear baggies anymore. They want to go to jerseys, and Brinson's kind of set a look for himself wearing the pants, and he allows me to wear the pants too, and I don't feel like I'm copying him, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think a lot of people do want to be called entertainers. Flint's called the entertainer of the PBR. I don't know. That's a hard one. I think deep down we are all entertainers, but the base of it was we're all rodeo clowns.
Yeah, a lot of that too, I think, has to do with sort of the way you do acts and the way you interact with the crowd. It kind of changes sort of the way you're leaning, because a lot of guys, most of your rodeo clowns are a barrel man, but I've seen some guys that don't even get in the barrel.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of guys that don't bring formal acts. They just do a lot of talking and interacting with the crowd. So there's room for all of that. It's just leaning into whatever you're really strong in, I would think.
Yeah.
And so I've realized that a lot of these rodeos are leaning away from the bigger propped acts. They're wanting, okay, we really don't want to have the bigger propped acts. We want to have a guy that's going to go up in the crowd and play with the old lady, or steal the old lady's popcorn, or get people hooping and hollering. That's what I've realized they're wanting. I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah. Me and you were kind of
I love it all, though.
taking over everything. So
I
I
know.
want to get
Let's
to know
shift
Danielle a
some
little
gears.
bit.
Let's talk to Danielle. Danielle, please tell us about your background. What brought you to the Western world?
So it's actually a really good story. So when I was 6 days old, my mom sat me on a horse and said, "Danny, this is a horse. Get used to it." And I say I've just ridden ever since then. But my mom is the one who really got me started in the horse industry. She specifically did horse showing. She held a couple rodeo queen titles, and she's the one who inspired me to kind of really pursue this passion that I had. So I've got to give a lot of credit to my mom there on getting me into the industry for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Obviously, horse girl background, so
Yeah.
we connect on that. But let's talk about things you've started, you have kind of a similar story to us and something that you're doing in the Western world, where we created the Southeastern Cowboy Network to put a spotlight in rodeo in the Southeast. You're doing something called Pass the Sash. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes. I love hanging out with you guys, and I love talking to you guys because I feel like it just fuels both of our fires and our passion. And when I talk to you guys, it's so similar in what we're doing. I mean, you guys are trying to highlight one thing, and me with Pass the Sash, I started it, I believe it was January of 2019, and I had been a teen queen before that. So I got to know a lot of the state title holders, and, I was friends with them on Facebook and friends with them on social media, how social media connects us. And I saw what they were doing kind of after their year as title holders, but I felt like the rest of the world really wasn't seeing what these women are doing in the Western industry. And I said, well, why is no one honing in on that? Why is no one highlighting that or showcasing that? So that kind of led to the creation of Pass the Sash, and it's a bit of a double meaning. So it could mean Pass the Sash as in what you do past your time as a title holder, or as a current title holder, who's past the sash and behind that. So I started that, and I really loved how it's grown. I mean, it's been a blessing to have.
Yeah, that's cool. I love to see it. We love to see the growth and helping each other out, because that's what it's all about when we connect in the rodeo world. And like half the reason we come to NFR and the reason we love it so much is we get to hang out with all of our people in person and talk to each other and say, hey, what's working for you? Hey, how can we help each other?
Yeah, that's another reason I love social media. It's good and bad in social media, but it gives you a platform to go beyond what people see in the arena and tell a story. And that's just one of the things we're trying to do for the rodeo athletes and for a lot of the rodeos around our area. Same thing you're doing there is really getting people to know the person behind what they see on the outside. So I love that, because I think that's one of the things that we really need. We've talked about this a lot of other sports, a lot of mainstream sports, they have that naturally because those people become such big personalities and stars. We have those same type people in this world. It's just a matter of the platform that you get to share their story on. So I love what you're doing, with that. And it's like we're basically doing the same thing. It's just two pieces of the rodeo world.
Yes, yeah. And I've had so many other accounts trying to do the same thing that Pass the Sash is doing, and I've been asked, well, does that irritate you that people are trying to copy you? There are so many rodeo queens across the United States. I can't get them all. Somebody else can't get them all. Like, please take a slice of the pie and let's get them all together and really just build the industry. Because I think the pageant industry, a lot of people have a misconception that, oh, well, it's a beauty pageant. Well, there's a lot more that goes into it. I mean, these girls, yes, they're graceful, but they're also hard workers. I mean, there's a lot of skills gained in any pageant industry that are easily transferable to a professional career. So that's really what we're trying to get at there, is that not only are these beautiful women and successful in everything else, but they're also going to be working women, and they're going to be in the industry helping it grow, just like you guys are.
Right.
Yeah. Go into it a little bit deeper, because we've got a lot of people that listen to the podcast that are not in this world, and we're trying to kind of bridge that gap and get them to understand the whole thing as it is, and get them to see how many facets there are. So let's talk a little bit about how that goes. Like, when you become interested in competing for a crown like that, what do you do? What are the pieces of the competition?
Yeah, so my story as to how I even got involved in the rodeo industry can be similar to so many other people across the U.S. For me, rodeo and the Western way of life was one weekend a year for me. That was my exposure. It was my hometown rodeo. Rodeo comes to town, and that was all I knew. And it wasn't until I kind of found my niche in the rodeo queen industry that I was able to understand how vast this industry is and how big it can be. So going into a pageant, I mean, you have to have a horse. So we do a little bit of a horsemanship pattern. You'll do like a personal interview with the judges. Sometimes there's some modeling, a written test. So there's different components that go into a pageant. And it just kind of depends on what level or like what organization you want to represent.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you were in Missouri, and so each state has their own, and then there are different levels, or do you just start at the state level?
So some girls do start at the state level. I know a lot of girls that have been really successful starting with a state title and moving forward. I know some girls that have kind of made like a career out of it and started when they were like 3 and did the junior misses and the princesses. So you don't have to start when you're young, and you don't have to start at a certain level. You can start where you are or wherever's available to you as well.
I love to hear that.
So you guys have done a lot of unique things, and rodeo, and I like to hear some of that stuff because we're Tennessee based, we're Southeast based. We don't get to travel as much as you guys do, and I know it gets tiring sometimes, but it's got to be fun at the same time. So, what for both of you can answer separately if you want to, but what's some of your most favorite rodeo experiences? Or like I didn't mention that you also are working a lot with interviews on TV and stuff right now with is it Avid Visual?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Avid Visual Imagery, Philip Kitts. They're out of Manhattan, and I met them through my queening experience, and so it kind of is me living my life past the sash now and being able to kind of showcase those talents and skills gained through pageanting into my career now. So it's really fun to kind of live my own platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So in all your travels and all the stuff you've done, what's been one of your most memorable or just favorite experiences ever with rodeo?
So I have interviewed Stetson Wright, and I mean, you have to put that one on the book. I mean, it's Stetson Wright. I mean, he's a world champion. He's phenomenal. He is the face of professional rodeo.
Yes.
But I would have to say my most memorable or my favorite interview that I've ever done, it was at the Sikeston J.C. Boothill Rodeo in Sikeston, Missouri, so my home state, and I got to talk to Brody Kress, and he rode the Horse Womanizer for 91 points there, set a new arena record. Well, I've become really good friends with Brody and Sierra, so that was just a really cool experience for me to like be able to talk to him in such a special moment for him.
Yeah, you were excited for that rematch the other night. How'd that go for you and your Pro Fantasy team?
Let me tell you, I don't know what happened, but I was cheering for him. I was rooting him on, and we were talking about it earlier, like you can't pick the people you want or the people you like on your team.
Yeah.
But I'm always cheering for Brody, and so I always want to support him, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So might as well put him on my team.
Absolutely. Yeah, have you guys had fun playing Pro Fantasy Rodeo this year?
Oh, it's been so much fun. At one point, I think I was in 11th. I think now I'm in 4th. So it just changes so rapidly.
Yeah, right
it
now,
keeps
as
you
of
in.
the start of round 6, I think both of you guys are in like the top 5.
I'm in third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she's in
Hanging
fourth.
on.
Y'all are beating the Briggs house at the moment.
That's
but we're going to
fact.
come on strong.
Struggle
at the
City
end
over here.
Yeah. So
Is Jesse Knudsen still winning it?
him, I
think he's-
think he is. Yeah.
First or second, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I talked to him last night.
He had a few
geez.
teams, so he kind of hedged his bets a little, but I'm
Oh,
okay
he
with
did.
that.
He did.
It's good support. But we're thankful for you guys signing up for that. We're having a blast with that too. But Dalton, I want to go to you. What about some of your favorite experiences or your all-time best memory in rodeo?
I went to Stetson's house.
I interviewed him.
Oh, shoot.
Welcome back to the One Up podcast.
Yeah. Most memorable, we'll start with this year. We dropped my camper off in Blackfoot, Idaho. So I did that rodeo a couple years ago, and they actually won Small Market Rodeo of the Year. I was on my permit
Heck yeah.
that year, and so that was really cool. And I got to know the committee there, and so I dropped my camper off there. I had to drive to Eugene, Oregon for a 4-day 4th of July rodeo. Well, come the 4th performance, I fall off the fence. You know, I'm walking on the fence, and I jump off, and I kind of land on my butt, on my tailbone, and man, that hurt. And well, next thing I know, I'm hurt. I'm in a lot of pain, like a lot of pain, and I find out that I've got 3 ribs out of place. Well, I've got to drive 12 hours to Blackfoot, and then we got to drive another 12 hours to Yuma, Colorado to drop the camper off. And then I got to either catch a flight or drive another 6 hours to Amarillo because I got a PBR the next day. And so she's not driving the camper because she doesn't want to drive the big truck and trailer.
Yeah.
So she has to drive the truck through the mountains and on the cliffs through Oregon.
12 hours.
Oh my gosh.
I'm
a short little
While her
trip.
hands are sweating the whole time.
White knuckling it. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like this the whole time, and I'm over here crying because I'm in so much pain. She finally gets us there, and I hook the truck and trailer up, and then I drive all the way to Yuma, and then luckily her friend Grace.
My best friend, Grace, she was our lifesaver because after that experience, I was like sick as a dog. He's in the back of my car, like dying with his ribs out. And so my friend Grace, bless her heart, drove us 6 hours to Amarillo in my car.
Oh my gosh.
So I'm sitting there, and I'm doing the PBR, and I'm looking up at the big screen, and all of a sudden I see one shoulder's up here, like I look cockeyed. I'm like this. I'm looking at the big screen. I'm like, oh my gosh. Luckily, there's a chiropractor with the PBR that adjusted me real quick during one of the breaks, and I ran back out there, and it was fine.
Finished it.
Yeah.
Wait, so that was your favorite experience from this year?
That's kind of what I was.
That was
Wait,
my most memorable.
Okay, most memorable. Okay.
Most memorable.
I'm like, this is not a good memory. Well, let's talk about other things you've done beyond this year. You're a rodeo clown worldwide.
Yes.
Let's talk about that trip.
Canada, and then Saudi Arabia. So I've got a call to go and perform for the royal family. They do a camel festival in Saudi Arabia, and
Do they buck camels?
No, so it's like a beauty contest. They judge the camels on the size of their lips, on the size of their humps, on the size of their ears, stuff like that, and then they race them. So I don't know if if you look it up, they've got little cars or little trucks along the track, and they have a little dummy on the camels, and so you always hear them talking in a walkie-talkie. Well, the dummy has a walkie-talkie, and the walkie-talkies only go so far.
What?
So they have to drive those little S10 trucks along the track, giving them cues. Go,
like,
go,
run
go,
faster?
go, go.
So, okay, that's what I wondered about that too. Like, how do they train those camels? Because I know from our experience working at Dixie Stampede together, that's how we met Dalton. For those that do not know, we all worked at Dolly Parton Stampede and Pigeon Forge. I wondered because those camels we use in the Christmas show are cued off of words. Like, obviously, they lay down with Cush. But, like, I didn't know how they race them, obviously, without real jockeys.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so interesting.
I have no idea, other than just the cues that they have on the walkie-talkies. But so the king, or actually the prince, I guess he owns this big entertainment company, and they've had WWE over there, motocross, yada, yada, yada. Well, little did we know that he loves John Wayne movies. He loves Wild West movies. He said, I want to have a bull riding over here. So he had 60 bull riders and 60 bulls flew over there. And I was over there for 2 weeks, and they were over there for 2 months. We rotated our clowns.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like a state fair, but for the country. So their big event was the camel race, right? And we were kind of a sideshow.
So it was a 2-month-long festival.
2 months long.
Wow.
I was there for 2 weeks every day. It was about 19 hours to fly over there.
Wow.
And I was in one of them big planes where it's 6 seats over here, 6 seats in the middle, 6 seats over here, and I was right dab in the middle.
Oh,
So you didn't have like a
miserable.
first-class cabin or nothing. You're sitting there
No,
coached like we would be.
Yeah, and I'm 6'4" or whatever I am, and I'm tight. It's tight for 19 hours. So that was a long flight.
So did you get to meet any of the royal family for the? No.
No, I wasn't able to. I think the day that I left, the guy after me, he was able to perform for him.
Wow.
Because it was weird that we have a performance every night, but we don't know if a royal family's coming, and then they could say, okay, hey, you got an hour because this guy's coming, and shoot, okay, let's go, let's warm our ropes up.
Yeah.
Let's get her going.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, what's next for you guys? So what's coming down the pipe? What does next year look like for both of you?
I'm pretty busy. I'm coming into convention already almost booked for 2024. The first event, I've got a PBR in Alabama. I got some shows. I got actually some corporate shows I'm doing. And then I start my rodeo season in California. And then I'm all over the place. I go out west. I'm in Utah, Wyoming, Idaho, Nebraska, Minnesota, or Wisconsin, Minnesota, just a little bit of everywhere. Yeah. So that's it's nice to be busy.
Heck yeah, man. That's what it's all about. What about you, Danielle? Are you working more with Avid, or what's coming this year for you?
Yeah. So what's really fun is that when he books rodeos, he's not just booking for him, he's booking for me too. And so this year I'll get to travel around with him a little bit more and kind of go to all these places. And I have to say, so he just bought a new camper, right? We went Black Friday shopping. And guess what he bought while he was Black Friday shopping?
What'd you get?
A dog bed.
A dog bed. So I'm going to take my dog.
Yeah, exactly. Now you're gonna have the whole fam on the road, and that you roll your eyes. But I'm telling you, coming from a perspective of a couple that works together on a lot of things, it has to be nice to be able to be together and have that support system on the road where you're not alone. She can help you. You can help her. I think it's going to be a good thing.
I do like Diesel. He is a cool dog. I also bought on Black Friday. I also bought slippers that heat and massage your feet.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I could use those this week. Actually, they have some of those over here at Rodeo Vegas
Yeah,
Rehab.
I
seen
see
that.
rehab here at Resorts World. They've got them.
geez,
Yeah.
Well, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for being on here. We love you guys. We're very happy to get to spend this time with you this week, and thanks for carving out some time to come over here and sit down with us.
Yeah, we
Yeah, no
appreciate
problem.
it.
Oh, thanks so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.